Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
I'm Vinny Savatello.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, which is the largest business association in the country. For more info on us, visit njbia.org. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide home, auto, and workers' comp insurance, and they're the official sponsor of the show, so check them out if you need some insurance.
So just a couple housekeeping matters before we get started. You can catch our show on iTunes, Google Play, really wherever you can view a podcast. If you're not into the whole podcast thing, or you just want to see our smiling faces every other Wednesday, you can check us out on YouTube. Either way, we'd really encourage you to subscribe. It can be rough to come in here and remember to come back every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
So hit up njbia.org/subscribe and you can get notified whenever we're new. With us today is Rebecca Fitzhugh of SobelCo. So Rebecca, say hi. Let the audience hear your voice.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks so much for coming down to Trenton.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to make the drive down here today.
Was it a long drive?
It was a bit of a long drive.
Yeah, where are you from?
We drove from Livingston today. Ooh. So it's a little over an hour.
Yeah.
But Sally and I had some great conversation on the way.
Shout out to Sally Glick, who is in the
Sally
room.
Glick.
Everybody knows Sally.
We have an audience today.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes, it's awesome. Okay, so today's icebreaker is bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
Why?
It's got that great texture and some crunch and all that salty goodness. Yeah, bacon every time.
Bacon every time. I like it. Okay. I have to say, me too, but only at breakfast. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I could eat bacon anytime.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
obviously I can eat bacon
Everything's better
anytime.
with bacon.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's like butter,
true.
you know. Butter and bacon will make anything better. Although, oddly, now that I'm thinking about it, butter and bacon together, probably not
Oh,
so
it's
great.
terrible.
But separately,
Separately,
Yeah.
they're
Very good.
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, but like my best friend's mom made stovetop for Thanksgiving, and she added a whole bunch of like Italian sausage to it. It was like the best stuffing I've ever had in my life, and it came from a box.
You know,
Wow.
stovetop is good. It's got that nice saltiness to it.
Yeah, but the sausage just made it so amazing.
Have
Yeah.
that nice fatty taste to it. Like we all need that.
But bacon at breakfast, if it's nice and well done, like nice and crispy and well done.
Wow, it's like
Right.
you're wasting the bacon.
What are you talking about?
Bacon is so much better when you know, like, you're crisping it up and then it's just like burned.
It should be no, I'm not saying
Crisp, but not burnt.
not burnt.
Okay,
Yeah.
so not like blackened or anything.
No, just
Okay,
nice and crispy,
fine.
so that when you hold it, it stays, horizontal.
Though we went to a bacon and beer tasting recently. That
Yeah.
was very
Really?
good. They were pairing different kinds of bacon with different kinds of beers. It was great.
That sounds amazing.
I just want to take a time out and be like, God bless the person who thought of that. Like, that is so random. We're going to take bacon and we're going to take beer.
They're two objectively awesome things, and you put them together.
And you just wouldn't
You're in
think to
heaven.
put those two.
No.
Because like you said, bacon's more of a breakfast thing. Beer less so. So like,
Was the bacon on anything?
No.
It was just
dunk it in the beer.
Except for the chocolate-covered bacon. They had chocolate-covered bacon.
I've done that too.
then,
That's amazing.
but
You're giving a look like you don't believe
shouldn't be amazing.
chocolate-covered bacon is
But
good.
it is.
Yeah, well, I get
It's
that
like
at the Amish
chocolate-covered
market all the
pretzels.
time. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. So where was
Okay.
the beer and bacon? Because anybody who can come up with something that great
It was
deserves a
Easton,
shout
Pennsylvania.
out. Okay.
They had a big fall festival, I guess, and so Weyerbacher Brewery is out there, and they had a special tasting where they paired Weyerbacher beers with different kinds of bacon.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Typically speaking, we're more of a New Jersey show. We don't like to throw the shout outs to
Well,
other
it's
states, but
right
you know
out
what?
on
We're
the
going to
other
allow
side.
it. Because beer and bacon, that's wow.
I agree. So,
Yeah.
what about you? Not beer or bacon. Bacon or sausage?
Bacon, yeah.
Bacon, obviously, right?
I can go through like phases in my life where I just hate sausage altogether. And I'm not in one of those phases now. I can totally eat it, but
Also, like Italian sausage, like
all sausage, yeah.
not just breakfast
Really?
sausage.
Yeah, I mean, although I really won't eat sausage any other time of the day. Bacon, whenever. Yeah.
Obviously. What about like bratwurst, which is not like an Italian sausage; it's German sausage, right?
Yeah, no.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird like that. Like,
Huh.
yeah, but bacon,
Yeah. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Yeah, so I forgot about our iTunes audience for a second there. 2 thumbs up.
After you just told them to subscribe.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
You should subscribe. Yeah,
All right. I think we're all on the same page. Bacon.
yeah sure.
Rock on.
All right,
Okay.
so Rebecca, tell us what you do at SobelCo.
I am a forensic accountant at SobelCo.
Forensic accountant.
What does that mean?
Right. So that means I have the more interesting job, and I get to investigate fraud and help attorneys with really crazy, thorny financial issues. And I get to see the, kind of the worst in the people. and how creative they can be with disguising things and covering it up.
Stealing money, hiding it.
Yes, unfortunately.
Can we ask, like, what would be, no names, obviously.
Yeah, no
but, like,
names,
you know,
but,
a
like,
scenario
what's
where
the-
somebody did something crazy to cover up, like, some fraud.
Well, I you know, you get people who just don't think that they're ever going to get caught, and they, you know, the typical, you know, scenario is somebody who's worked with a company forever and they're very well trusted, and they just start writing checks to themselves or taking money. But we did have one case where there was a credit union branch manager who was stealing money from her elderly account members' accounts because, you know, they were old and they were like IRA accounts. Nobody would ever, like, you know, keep track of the balance, and she was taking money out. And then,
And they didn't try to. She didn't try to hide it.
well, the thing was, nobody actually noticed it. And then when people would come in and say, well, there was a withdrawal from my account and it wasn't me, and she would say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I miskeyed the account number. It must have been somebody else. So she would take money from someone else's account and put it back.
Wow.
That's nuts.
So people do crazy things, and it's not like she was, like, you know, buying new cars or anything. She was just going to the Home Shopping Network
Oh my
buying
gosh.
things, I think.
What's the most amount of money that you've ever caught somebody?
Oh, probably in the millions of dollars.
Wow. You don't notice that missing from the ledger, I guess.
Well, you know what? If it's over a number of years,
It adds
you
up.
know, it really does. And people, especially small businesses, people don't really, you know, you don't have enough people to do different job duties. So one person might be, you know, receiving the mail and opening up the checks and taking it to the bank and writing checks to people and dealing with cash. So, you know, and then the owner of the business, they trust them so much, they don't have enough time to be looking over their shoulder. So it happens, and they don't notice, and they think maybe that, you know, the business just isn't doing well, and they don't know why. And then they find out somehow that people have been stealing from them, or a person's been stealing from them, and it's really unfortunate, but it happens.
That's something that. Go ahead.
No, you.
Okay, so I feel like that's something that happens at, like, the big company level. Like,
Oh,
when you've got,
no.
like, 5 people in an
It
office,
does.
it'd be hard to get away with that. So it's surprising to me that it would be a smaller. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, it depends. I mean, it happens at big companies, and frequently because people collude and they work together
of course.
to do something, and, you know, multiple people benefit. But at small companies, it's really just because, you know, you have one person dealing with all the money.
Yeah.
And, you know, that, like I said, the owner just doesn't have the time.
Right.
And, you know, they want to focus on doing whatever the business is that they do. Medical practices, you know, and professional practices especially, attorneys too, you know, they want to practice what they've gone to school and they've learned and paid lots of money to become experts in. They don't want to deal with the accounting
bookkeeping.
and the bookkeeping. So that's why they hire somebody else, but then they just lose too much control. But I encourage everybody not to trust anybody.
Aw.
Yeah.
Trust isn't an internal control, as I like to say, but
Yeah,
it's
the
unfortunate.
internal controls is a big thing. I remember I used to work for a really small organization, and we had a staff of, you know, 4 or 5, and we had very strict internal controls. One person opened the mail, and all of it went to me, and then I looked at the checks, and then I handed them off to somebody else, and then, like,
Exactly.
there has to be, like, everybody involved, even if it's not part of your job description.
Right.
But, you know, it never occurred to me, but I guess it should have, that I could have been colluding with somebody in that chain.
Could have. Right. And people
Jeez.
just are ingenious in finding ways to get around whatever controls are there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That spurs so much creativity. Anytime you try to make security tighter or controls, I mean, just like, you know, look in general in the world with technology, every time somebody comes up with a new way to secure a system, somebody else is going to figure it out how to get around it. And I think it's just the challenge of it. People want, you know, it's fun to get around the
I
good
suppose.
guys sometimes. So
This is fictional, but I think my favorite. You ever see Superman 3 or Office Space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like how they wrote some code in the
Right.
bank's computer that every time a transaction went in that was like a fraction of a penny, like if we're converting
the
from
1/10
debit
of a
currency,
penny.
the 1/10 of the penny.
That is called. It's a salami scheme.
Wait, that happens
That's
in
what
real
they
life?
call
That's
it.
a thing?
It is.
So for those of you who haven't
Yes.
seen the rest of the the movies, like they took those fractions of a penny and they just put them in another account, assuming like it's a fraction of
it
a
would
penny.
take a million
Yeah.
years for it to be any amount of money that would be missing and anybody
Exactly.
would notice. But
like in both cases, they like instituted this on a Friday. They come back on Monday and there's like 300 grand in the
Yes.
account. Yeah, they all start panicking.
That is actually a thing with a name. They call it the Salami scam or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, if you okay, so I'm a certified fraud examiner, which is, you know, the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, and so they have this whole training manual and everything, and that's one of the things that's in the manual, and that's just slicing off a tiny little fraction that nobody's ever going to notice. But if you do it often enough and across a wide enough population, you're going to come up with something.
wow, pretty soon the salami's gone.
Well, or no, somebody else has all the salami.
Somebody else has all the salami.
Because like you slice salami really thin.
Yeah.
It amazes me that even after that movie came out, people were like, "That's a good idea. I should do it." Like, you know, like in both movies, they very quickly realized like why that's like not something you should do.
Idea.
That you will get caught like immediately.
Yes.
And people in real life were like, "No, I'm gonna give it a shot."
I'm going to try it anyway. Wow.
Especially like with, you know, like you said, like it has a name. You know, it's more attention is brought to it by the fact that we all know Office Space. Wow, that's amazing.
But then, you know, you look at people like Bernie Madoff, who and that wasn't pennies that he was dealing with. I mean, it was big sums of money, and he was making things so complicated that, you know, people didn't understand. They thought he was just so brilliant that, you know, it was something they were too dumb to understand, but he must know what he was doing, and that's how he just scammed everybody. Because nobody asked him any questions.
Unbelievable.
That is really unbelievable. I forgot about Bernie
No trust
Madoff.
anywhere.
So, okay, that's a really good point. If you have a financial guy, like we all have a financial guy, right? How is there a check and balance that you can, like, without them knowing, have somebody look and make sure that it's all on the up and up?
Well, you can. There are websites you can go to make sure that somebody is a registered investment.
Sure.
You know, brokers or advisors. I mean, you always want to make sure that somebody has the background and the credentials and training that they should. You're not always going to know whether they're ripping you off or not until too late. But you just have to ask a lot of questions. Make sure you get recommendations, and make sure, you know, don't just go to the fly-by-night guys who, you know, suddenly turn up someplace. But, you know, just like any professional or a doctor or somebody, get recommendations from people you know. There's no fail-safe, but just keep, you know, if anybody guarantees you you're going to get a certain return on anything, that's a sure red flag that it's not true. Okay. If anybody, you know, there's just no guarantees in finances. Sure. So make sure you know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And you need to start asking questions. Always ask questions. And if the answers that you get don't sound right, you know, start talking to somebody else.
Okay. Interesting. How long have you been doing this?
I've been with Sobel's for about 18 years, so I've been doing the forensic work for about 14.
And how long into the 14 years was it before you lost all faith in humanity? You're telling people don't trust anyone pretty quickly? All right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I am passionate about educating people about the ways they can be taken advantage of and defrauded, and the thing is that people just trust too much, and I keep on going back to that trust thing, and it makes it sound really like it's an awful world. But I mean, you can trust people to a certain extent, but then you got to start questioning things. You know, there's no reason to just put absolute faith in anybody. There's always, you know, some sort of check you can do, or to be a little bit more smart about what you're doing and talk to other people and make sure it sounds right.
How often are you catching people?
You know,
like, do we go like whole months where you're like, no, nobody tried to defraud anybody? It's been a positive month this month, you know?
Not really.
No.
No, but the thing is, you know, we are actually typically engaged after the fact, after somebody's found out or has a suspicion that somebody's stealing from them. So it may be that they already know, and then we come in to quantify it and just figure out exactly what they did to do it, and, you know, assess controls and try to give some recommendations on what people can do to make them less vulnerable in the future.
That's a good point. Does anybody come to you without a suspicion?
You know, to try to be very proactive.
Yeah, maybe like an audit. Or,
Sometimes they do. You know, it's really hard for people. It's kind of like insurance.
Yeah.
You know, nobody really wants to pay for insurance, because unless you actually have some sort of loss, you're never going to use it. And if you're lucky, you're never going to use it.
That's right.
So people don't want to pay to sort of evaluate their systems and be proactive unless they know they're actually avoiding some sort of loss. So everybody kind of wants to play the numbers and just assume and bet that they're going to not be the one who gets affected by it. You're playing the odds. How many people are really going to be defrauded or be the victim of a flood or a car accident. So they try not to, they figure that it's not going to happen and I'll deal with it after, if it does. But it's always more expensive and more traumatic to wait until afterwards.
Oh, yeah,
but,
sure.
Occasionally people will ask you, come in and do some sort of an assessment of, where can we improve controls? Where are our risks? Where are the vulnerabilities? And, and sometimes we're asked to do background checks on people or make sure that they are who they say they are, that they don't have any financial issues in their background that could make them more vulnerable to, if the money's in front of them, they might take it.
Is there a common vulnerability that you see? Like, are there, like the kind of thing you see like all the time? Like if you were to come in proactively, the first place you'd look to be like, all right, here's where there's something that could be going wrong that I see all the time.
It's typically having one person do everything. So like Kate was saying, where she used to work, one person would do A, one person would do B, one person would do C. Well, if you don't have that segregation of duties, you're giving too much power and authority to one person. And if you don't have an owner or a manager or somebody doing a little bit of a check on somebody, then and having some sort of oversight there, then you're vulnerable. And people sometimes think, well, I don't really want to seem like I don't trust that person, so I'm not going to go back and review their work, or I'm not going to look over their shoulder. And that's exactly when that person has the opportunity to go and steal something.
Humans are funny, aren't they? Because humans are like...
They're a riot.
Right. Like, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, but I kind of suspect that they might be stealing from me. But I'm going to, I'm going to tiptoe around that. Like, if somebody's stealing from you, it should be a much bigger conversation. But but if they're not, and they find out that you're suspicious of them, well, that's just it. The working relationship is over.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, though, even when you find out somebody, a lot of business owners, when they find out somebody or their employee is stealing from them, well, they feel betrayed.
Right.
Because this was somebody they trusted, maybe they've had a friendship with, a family relationship, whatever. But a lot of times they don't go ahead and prosecute them. They don't, they may not report them to law enforcement. They may not go through with trying to press charges against them. And then they don't have a record and they go off and do it someplace else.
Right.
Possibly.
Well, also, you're kind of telling all the other employees,
but it's okay.
This person got away with it. You probably will get fired, but you probably will also get away with it.
At least for a certain time.
Yeah.
And that might be long enough. Because really what happens is a lot of times these people who are committing frauds in a company setting, they're not your typical run-of-the-mill thief. They're not your con. They're normal, honest people who wouldn't be doing this, except that something has happened in their lives that they need to deal with. Maybe they're in debt. They've had some medical issues. Maybe there's a drug addiction in the family. They need to get hold of money quickly that they don't have. And they see an opportunity in their job that they have access to cash or electronics that they can sell or something that's going to help them get through this. And they think, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it this one time. I know nobody's really looking, and I'm going to pay it back. It's only once, and I need it, and you know what? I deserve it.
But then they get away with it, and
they find out, well, okay, that wasn't so bad. So maybe I want a new car.
Yeah.
Maybe I want, I need to send my kid to a nice college, and I'm not getting financial aid. It could be anything, and they end up continuing to do it. But it's just not, so that's why you really have to be careful and be aware of what's going on in your employees' lives, because maybe there's some sort of pressure that has come up that you didn't know about, and, they've got too many temptations in your company. So you have to just be careful of that.
As an optimistic person, I feel tempted to ask, are there ever times where like maybe an employer comes to you and is like, we think this guy's stealing from us, and then they're not?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
I mean, there's plenty of times where, you know, just strange things have happened and records aren't kept properly, and you know, you have somebody doing bookkeeping duties that really doesn't know how to do it,
Right.
and you know, there have been times.
That's almost worse. It's like he's not stealing from you. He's just bad at his job.
That is terrible.
And
You're right.
that is an issue. Is a lot of times that it's more general incompetence and not knowing how to use the software, or just, you know, you've
guess it
hired
happens.
somebody who was pretty cheap to, you know, in salary, and they don't
yeah.
really have the expertise that you need, and so you got books suddenly that aren't really good, but you can't tell if they're stealing or not.
Yeah. Gosh, I never thought about that. But yeah, there are only so many hours in the day, and if you're the owner and you can't do the bookkeeping, but you also can't afford like a professional accountant to
Right.
do it for you.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people who are certified QuickBook Pros, and you know, I've never gone through that certification. I don't know how good it is,
Right.
but I assume that some people are really good and some people may not be so good, and you just don't
yeah.
know.
And just because you're certified at QuickBooks doesn't mean you know really all that much about accounting itself. and
That's a really good
rules.
point. That's a really good point.
So you know how to use the software, but that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
But
Wow. I feel like I learned a lot.
I know, right?
I'm feeling
it makes
really
you really
like
scared.
yeah, I'm feeling really somber and serious.
That's why you
right
come and you listen to our podcast.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be such a downer.
No.
No, it was really good information. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you have anything else before we take a quick break?
Does anybody ever have anything
No,
else?
they
Every
really
time you
don't.
ask that, my
I know.
first thought is she's not going to have anything
No.
else.
I should
Well,
stop
what else
asking.
should I have?
Nothing. You did a really good job, and we were like throwing questions at you, and you did a really good job.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna play Awful or Awesome.
Cool.
And we're back, and it is time to play the game called Awful or Awesome. I'm going to name 3 things in quick succession, and you have to decide quickly if it is awful or awesome, and then be prepared to defend your answers. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready. All right. First up, YouTube ads.
Awful.
Yeah, I agree.
I totally agree.
Wow, we are all in agreement. I guess it's kind of a gimme. Who loves YouTube ads, right?
Nobody loves YouTube
Nobody.
ads.
But we particularly hate them, or Vinny does. We were talking about
Well,
trailers, right? Movie trailers?
So trailers. Oh, that's another one. The first thing I thought of was that commercial with the zombies, where they're all. Did you ever see that? Where they're going through the house, and the way that somebody tries to distract them is they project a YouTube video on the wall, and like they're all trying to click the wall to hit like skip ad, because that's just so ingrained in our mind. Like, you know,
like that, though.
that was the first thing I thought.
awesome.
I don't even remember what that was a commercial for, but I'll always remember
fabulous.
the commercial. My thing with YouTube ads, I hate. Like, I watch a lot of trailers. I'm a movie fan, you know, so I want to see, like, what's coming up. I hate when I go ahead and watch a commercial, and I have to then watch another commercial before that commercial.
Yeah.
Like, if I am submitting to watch a trailer, a commercial, then that should be your commercial, and I
Right.
shouldn't have to watch something else.
It's true.
That's just what I hate about the whole thing.
It's true.
On the other hand, I do know that it's what keeps the internet rolling, you know, so...
I know. YouTube is free because of ads.
Yeah.
But I really hate them.
That and the tremendous amount of money that Google makes. So...
That's true.
Yeah.
Are we really feeling... I forgot
I don't
for
feel
a
bad
second.
for Google at all.
Yeah.
And they're not one of our members, so I can say that.
That's true. All right. LOL or texting grammar.
Oh, hate. Terrible, awesome. Terrible.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, okay. Why?
I love words, and I love a carefully well-crafted sentence. So, and I think
too.
words are very important in how you communicate and the meaning of what you're communicating. So when you compress that into
LOL.
text speak,
Yeah.
I'm like, half the time I have to ask my daughter, what is this? What does this mean? Or I look it up on Google because I just don't understand it.
Didn't you send LOL to a colleague?
Oh,
once?
God, yeah.
You gonna tell the story?
So when I want to say it was like one of the first couple months I was here, maybe like within the first year I was here. Shout out to my old boss, Chris Biddle. He sent me a joke through email, and I replied back, LOL, because it was funny. And he interpreted that to mean lots of love. So he replied back, I love you too. And I had no idea what to do with that. Like, I was just floored. Like, I was just
Brand
like,
new.
I don't know what to write. Like, do I write, like, no. You know? Do I write that back? Do I I spent like the whole weekend thinking about like what I was gonna say back in this thing, because I was like, if I embarrass him, and I'm like, that's not really what I meant. Like, does that then come back on me? Like, oh, I'm embarrassed every time I see him, and then I wouldn't be working here anymore. But
so,
I just pulled him aside. I was like, just so you know, because this is probably gonna come up a lot in your life from here on out. LOL means laughing out loud.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's hard enough to communicate by electronic means because nobody really knows the tone.
Yeah.
When you start doing it in letters and acronyms, suddenly it's like, what exactly do you mean? Sometimes exactly like that.
Yeah. In fact, LOL has become the way that people communicate the tone. Like, you can send back a really short text, but you don't want the person to think that you're upset, so you're just like, LOL.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's the new no offense.
Right.
Or, what's that? In all due respect.
All due respect.
Yeah, like, your shoes are ugly, LOL. I hate that. I hate that so much. In fact, like, sometimes when I'm in a room with somebody and we're texting each other, because you don't want to be heard or whatever, and they reply LOL, and I didn't see their face laugh. I'm like, you didn't laugh out
You didn't even
loud.
smile.
Yeah,
What's going on over there?
Or like, I'll write something that's not that funny, not looking to get like a big laugh, and people will be like, LMAO, and I'm like, no, you weren't.
Right, so where's the truth in that?
Yes.
Exactly. Come on.
Exactly. So are you a reader as well?
I do like to read, although I find that digital media has shortened my attention span, so I mostly listen to Audible now.
Me too! Actually, the three of us do. Yeah, we're big fans of Audible.
Yeah, we're going through our book club book now.
Yes.
Unsheltered by
Barbara Kingsolver. It's set in Vineland, New Jersey. It's really cool.
Shout out to Vineland.
I know, right? Shout out to Vineland. Anyway, but I like words as well, and I get that from loving reading. And so I thought maybe...
Yeah, as a kid, I always had books.
Me too.
That we're in the middle of.
Absolutely. All right, last one. The Mary Poppins Returns movie.
I like how you wrote that like you didn't know what you were reading. Like, this was your idea to put into the script, and you're like, what does that say? The Mary Poppins
So there's a reason.
Returns?
Because when I first put that on here, I wrote the Mary Poppins reboot. But then at the script meeting, because we're totally professional here and we have like production meetings.
You gotta plan this stuff out.
Exactly.
A little bit.
We realized that the name of the movie is actually Mary Poppins Returns. So I crossed out reboot, I wrote in returns, but I left the. Words matter.
Did you think that the movie was called the Mary Poppins reboot?
No.
They were really gonna call it that before you were like, oh, it's Returns.
No! It was our way to describe that movie.
Okay, sure.
The Mary Poppins, like the Superman reboot or the Harry Potter reboot.
See, I think the Superman thing actually was a reboot, whereas I think Mary Poppins Returns is a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're totally right.
Okay. I haven't seen it. I hear it's really good. It's getting some Oscar buzz. Depending on when you listen to this, the Oscars might be over. I can't remember when this is going to air.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, so it probably won't do well at all because I said that. Or who knows? Maybe it's Best Picture 2019. We'll see. But
Musicals almost never are Best Picture.
Chicago, My Fair Lady, An American in Paris.
Those were all like way. I mean, Chicago was recent, but yeah. So you named 3 movies in like a century of movies.
And I'm not a musical person, so the fact that I was able to pull that out that quickly should tell you that they do come up every so often.
Let's regroup.
Okay.
The Mary Poppins reboot,
Sure.
i.e., Mary Poppins Returns, awful or awesome.
All right. Well, I mean, in general, I hate sequels and reboots and
Just
remakes.
hate them.
I don't mind sequels if it's from the original author. Like, okay, so George Lucas, decided to write 6 Star Wars movies, and that's what it is. But now they hand it off to Disney, who, just do whatever they want, and that's not the original author's intent. The Terminator movies also really get to me because, James Cameron had this very perfectly constructed 2-movie arc, and then these other people just came in with their big budgeted fan fiction, and they crap all over the mythology and all that, and they break all the rules of time travel, and it's like, really?
They break the rules of time travel?
They do. So, like, the first Terminator movie establishes, and this is going to get really in the weeds, that time is a circle. So, like, anything that would have ever happened, happened. So that's why John Connor is able to send his dad back in time, who then, like, has a fun night with his mom, and makes John Connor, because, like, no matter what, it always happened. And, like, the Terminators send a Terminator back through time, who then gets broken and leaves an arm around, and then, like, the company finds the arm, and they build the Terminator, and it all goes around in a circle like that. You know, but then they like start to break things and they're like, oh no, we don't care about that anymore. We're going to change it. And then now this happened. And that's what happens when you have other authors come in to continue work that they should have never been working on in the first place. This is a children's movie, so I'm not going to really complain. I haven't seen the first Mary Poppins movie since I was like 5, so I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember much about it. The Sound of Music, another musical, sorry, that won the Best Picture. But yeah, like, I'm sure it's great. Lin-Manuel Miranda is involved, and you know,
Apparently
he's like,
his Cockney accent really is bad.
Is it?
Well, okay, can I just say that he's sort of the exception that proves the rule. He's not a singer. I mean, he's good at rapping. He's good at hip hop. I have nothing but respect and love for Hamilton.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. So.
But I haven't either. But he's not a singer.
I would have thought you'd have seen it by now. Like the remember when we were talking about how you hadn't seen it in the NJ Pack episode? I want to say it might have been the NJ Pack episode.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I would have thought by now.
No,
because you were all about it, you know.
Yeah, I still have it memorized.
Wow.
But I can't. I mean, who's got a spare $200 just lying around?
I don't think there's any show, TV, movie, anything that I have memorized that I have not yet seen. That is commitment to a soundtrack, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm a musical theater person,
Sure.
so it's not unusual. But I am not inclined to like the Mary Poppins reboot.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
But a part of this is also that they have all new songs.
Right.
By the way, the Broadway Melody, another Best Picture winner that was a musical. Sorry, they're coming to me. I'm just going to spit them out as they come to me. Go ahead. You're not inclined. Go ahead.
Do you want to just continue to pontificate instead?
I'm thinking, as you're talking, I'm going to think about more musicals that have won the Best Picture,
This is
but go
like
ahead.
the best. This is awesome right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving life.
I'm not even a musicals guy, you know. So
God.
I'm sure if you really put your mind to it, you could come up with more. But
All right, I'm just going to say awful because I don't think Mary Poppins needed a reboot. I think that somebody at Disney was like, let's make a ton of cash.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I saw a movie a few years ago. I want to say it was called Saving Mr. Banks, about the original author of Mary Poppins. First of all, she really hated the first movie. I can't imagine she'd
Mary
like
Poppins,
this one.
Or was that? Oh, I was thinking it was Peter Pan.
Yeah, that was Barry.
Sally's
Barry.
in the background shaking her head. No, she says I'm right.
I'm not good at this stuff, so.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the author, but I remember that she really hated it. So
Really?
I can't imagine she'd be happy with this. Unless there were multiple books. I don't know.
There were, I think.
Oh, were there?
I think that there were.
But even then,
you're right.
I'm sure she would hate that they were going back and doing another one of them. So
Yeah, I'm sure that you're right.
But I don't think there were any open plot points that you really needed to go and have
No.
a sequel to.
Totally agree. Totally
I was
agree.
asking somebody who saw it if you needed to see the first one, because I mean, there's quite a few decades in between these two, so
it's
you
the
got to
same
assume
family,
that there are a bunch of people who haven't seen it, and he was like, you don't need to. It's a lot better if you do. So
Really? It's better if you do, but you don't need
probably,
to.
you know, any sequel is going to be better if you're like familiar with the characters going in, you know.
I suppose.
But I think it's very, all the plot is very parallel. And even the songs I heard were very parallel to the original.
So they're new
So
songs,
it's-
but it mirrors the old one?
Yes. Like there's an equivalent to Feed the Birds, and you know.
We're still feeding the birds. No, I don't even remember the songs.
I feel like that defeats the point. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't have any urge to go and see
No?
it.
Your daughter isn't going to want to go?
I don't think she does. I think she's kind of beyond Mary Poppins.
Okay.
You know.
Is anybody really beyond Mary Poppins? I mean, a lot of adults are going to see this.
Well, I think adults are going because they remember it from their childhood. But I think kids nowadays, unless their parents are taking them, they're probably not like, oh my God, I have to see this movie.
Wait, how old is your daughter?
15.
Oh, okay. So there
But
is.
she loves
all right, so
musical theater,
just
too.
old
She
enough
loves
that you're not too young to be like in love with Mary Poppins,
Yeah.
and just young enough that you're not, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of in that area for me? Do you remember the original Batman show, like Adam West and all that?
Yeah.
So like I loved that as a kid. You know, it was like great. You know, Batman's pow, wham, zap. When I was a teenager, I really hated it because I was like, they're like doing all this like. You know,
Fake
he's like,
karate.
yeah, pow, wham, zap. And then, like, after college, I watched it again and I just got it. I was like, wait a minute, they're trying to be funny. And you don't get that as a teenager. Like,
Right.
everything's got to be cool or nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like that, you know, you fall into this certain teenage age range where nothing is cool because you know, you're a
Right.
teenager. And, but yeah.
That was hilarious.
For everybody else, I'm sure, you know, this is getting a lot of good buzz. So
You're right. It is getting good buzz. I probably should see it because I love musical theater, but I'm just not inclined to like it. Yeah. So I think, are we all awful? Did we all say awful on that one?
I'll go with awful, but with the tempered thing that I haven't seen it, I try not to come down too hard on movies I haven't seen. And, you know,
Right. How about ambivalent?
No, you have to choose.
Neutral.
But you know what? I think that all three of us did awful on all three of these possibilities. YouTube ads, Texting Grammar, and Mary Poppins Returns.
You were in a negative mood when you put this
I
together.
guess so. I didn't mean to be, but I think, yeah. All right, I think that's the game.
That's the game. All right, so recent segment of ours, and I should probably stop saying that 'cause it's like the fourth time. I'm like, this is a brand new segment.
It's not brand new
It's not brand new anymore. But, you know, little behind the scenes magic. We're recording a lot of these in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like, we came back from the New Year's break, and we've just been hitting the ground running.
Yep.
I think this is our fourth episode that we're filming since coming back, or it's our third, and the fourth one is later this afternoon.
No, it's our
We were supposed to
fourth.
have 5, but we had somebody cancel on
Right.
us.
It's our fourth in a
So-
3-day week.
Yeah. So
Wow.
considering that we air every other
believe you
week,
guys have done that.
all of the content you see for like Q1 2019 is just going to be recorded from these few days,
Yeah.
which is terrible because I've still got this like congestion going on, so I can hear
Suck
it
it
in my
up.
headset. Yeah, I'm going to sound weird for the first like quarter of 2019 when really it was like
And
a
then
week.
slowly-
Such a prima donna.
Anyway, what's one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Wow. One piece of advice that I'd give to my younger self. Go to law school?
That's a good one. Oh my God.
I don't know. You know what? I was a political science major in college, and I
Nice.
decided not to go to law school. And now I think maybe I should have.
Were you an so you didn't have an accounting background in your
No,
undergrad?
I actually, I came to accounting the long way. Political science undergrad. I went and got my MBA in marketing and finance. I worked in marketing for several years, and then I decided it wasn't for me, and went back to school, got the credits I needed to take the CPA exam, and that's what I've done ever since.
Wow.
So it's never too late to try something different.
That's really cool. Good for you.
Do you feel like you'd still have that mistrust in society if you were a lawyer?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Even
probably.
more so.
Yeah, probably
I
more.
know, right? We've had some of our HR attorneys come in and tape with us for the podcast, and the stories that they tell about
That's crazy.
the things that people do.
Remember the Avatar costume from Kathleen
Oh
Conlon?
my God, I forgot about the Avatar costume. So apparently, this one company, there was a woman who worked at night doing dancing?
Yeah, like adult
Exotic
dancing.
right.
yeah.
Okay.
And she had an Avatar costume, like a bodysuit, apparently.
From the movie Avatar.
Right.
Yeah. That was part of the act.
That was part of her act, and they convinced her, but I get the feeling it didn't take much convincing
Yeah.
for her to put it on.
Come into work and do her
into
show.
work.
And like, right.
What kind of company was this?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't remember, but the owner, somebody with a brain, got wind of this and called the lawyer, and she put a stop to that really quickly.
I just love to be like that person, like the one that took offense, like, you gotta be kidding me. Like walking in the room, like, no.
I just,
Why,
you-
Yeah.
why did everybody think that that was a good thing?
right? Like human beings are funny people, aren't
At
we?
least like when you
Good
see
thing.
like
Right.
these things happen, there's like good reason. Like I needed to put my kid through college.
Right.
There's no good explanation.
I just wanted that great thing on Home Shopping Network. Can you say?
Right. No, there's no good reason for that to have ever happened.
Oh my god.
All right, I
Wow.
think that's our show.
No.
No?
No, we've got other
Oh,
stuff.
my bad. I'm sorry.
So is there anything coming up you want to promote?
Well, there are two things that I want to talk about, and one thing is just on the side. I'm a trustee for a nonprofit called Partners for Women in Justice.
Oh.
And they are located, actually, as of yesterday, they're located in Bloomfield, New Jersey. They moved from Montclair.
Nice.
And they provide pro bono legal services to victims of domestic violence.
That's
so they need
fabulous.
restraining orders, etc. It's a great organization.
What's it called
We're
again?
Growing. Partners for Women in Justice.
I like it.
So great organization. We have a benefit. Our spring benefit comes up on May 1st, and my wonderful colleague Sally is one of our honorees this year.
Oh,
so
nice. Congrats, Sally.
good, happy to get that out there. And the second thing I just want to say is that something we've been doing a lot of education about lately is all of the personal information that's out there about you on the internet that you don't know about. People should Google themselves. It's in terms of avoiding fraud on a personal level and even on a business level, there are things out there, especially in New Jersey. If you own a home and you have a mortgage, your mortgage is a public record that is in most counties on the internet, and anybody can see it. Your deeds.
But is there any way to avoid that then?
Mostly not, but being aware of it is the biggest thing. To know that things are out there and to avoid putting your information out there if you can. I mean, just Google yourself and you'll find all sorts of information. It's unfortunately very accurate a lot of times. You can find family members and where you live and photos of your home. And so just be careful about sharing the information that you have and be aware that there's a lot of it out there on the internet that you may not know. So it's some scary stuff that we can talk. We get into talking about with people, but
that's really good advice.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely more of an uprising. There was an op-ed in the New York Times just recently. Also, is that it's about time that we start making this information a little less easily accessed. Especially there are a lot of stalkers and people are just a little off kilter that can use this to harm people or to stalk them. So just be careful what's out there and what you share.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody's on Facebook 24/7.
Lock down those profiles, make them private.
Yeah.
Don't have your profile open so that anybody who searches your name online can find your Facebook page and look at everything on it.
Yeah.
That's really important.
I agree. Totally.
Wow. On that note.
I know. So cheerful.
So let's just say that somebody wants a CPA, or they need a forensic accountant, or maybe just feel like they might need one. How can they get a hold of you guys at SobelCo?
Well, they can either go to our website at www.sobelcollc.com or give us a call at 973-994-9494.
Very cool.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
it's been really a lot of fun.
It was our pleasure. I'm glad you had fun. Thank you. We did
Absolutely.
too. All right, that's our show. Thank you to listeners. Thank you to subscribers. We really appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, one last official thank you to Rebecca Fitzhugh of SobelCo for joining us today.
Thank you, Kate.
And for teaching me that the Superman 3 Office Space scam is a real thing that goes on in real life.
The Salami scam. That's got to be the name of the episode. You know that, right?
Maybe. The Salami scam. Absolutely.
Oh, that will get you a lot of viewers.
I bet it will. I bet it will. I bet it will. All right, until next time. Bye. Out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide home, auto, and workers' comp insurance, and they're the official sponsor of the show, so check them out if you need some insurance. That's your line.
I thought you said something about how, like, I remember last time you ending on, like, us being the largest statewide employer association in the country.
No.
If you're not into the whole podcast thing, you can watch the show on YouTube instead. Either way, really No, we're starting this over. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
So do you want me to throw it to you when I say largest?
No.
Okay. Because I didn't the last couple times. Because I feel like it was just getting kind of stale.
I know. Because I never have anything entertaining to say about that. Like, yes, we are. It's an objective fact. Yes, good for us. I've done that a couple times. I've looked into the camera and I've given the thumbs up. But
all right, starting over. We release a new episode every other Friday, so be on the lookout. Shout out. Oh, I messed that up. It's every other Wednesday now. Dang. You know what? Let's just keep going. Sometimes we make mistakes in this world.
Yeah? Okay.
Wow.
No, I mean, it's your call.
So, no, the fact that you were like, really?
Well, you're right at the beginning.
I know.
You're right.
If you're going to start over, it's only one.
To be fair, this is the only part of the show we ever really screw up. Because we have this script and we have to follow it word for word. After this part of the show, it's all just like whenever.
Improvisation.
Yeah. Not into the whole podcast thing, you just want to see our smiling faces every other Wednesday, you can watch it on YouTube and you can subscribe there. And that's another... Sorry.
This is like probably more takes to get going than we've ever done.
We don't screw this up.
Yes.
You know what it is? We have an audience.
I was just thinking we have an audience.
Sally's making
That's
you nervous.
never happened. Yes. Okay. Other people's business. Excuse me. Business. Other.
You have to leave.
No.
It's okay. okay, we'll get another blooper reel out of it, right?
We're totally getting a blooper reel out of this. Quiet on set. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide. Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
I'm Kate Conroy. I did that on purpose. I'm sorry. Start again. So, SobelCo.
It's on the back as well.
You know what else? I was really paranoid that I was pronouncing the name wrong, and I feel really
Some
bad.
people say Sobel, so it's...
Yeah, I know. I never really understood why they get the
Don't put that into my head.
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Don't do that.